Well, Christmas, it's a time for the families to get together. You give gifts to everybody, and you try to spend as much time as possible with the people most important in your lives. But there's also this thing that you hear quite a bit during this period, which is the holiday spirit. This is when you try to also help others who may be less fortunate. And we really have two people who are very much representative of that ideal. Special guests joining us, Chris Lipman and Josh Suarez. Chris and Josh recently found a pretty unusual way to raise money for some of the great causes that are in need of some fundraising. And they're joining us here in the studio to tell us all about it. Chris, Josh, thank you both for joining us here in the studio. Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
So, Chris, can I begin with you? You're a DJ based here in Seoul, and I hear you wanted to use nightlife and music, maybe events not normally associated with fundraising for some of these good causes. Pretty unique idea. How did you come up with it?
So we were actually hanging out at Josh's bar, and we were discussing quintessentially what you just said. And then we realized we can use his space, my skill set, my gear, set up a stage, and hopefully find other DJs interested to kind of bring everything together. Because again, traditionally you don't think of DJs in the music industry or the nightlife industry as a possible or viable way to raise money for a good cause. So we were trying to actually create something new, something that felt awesome, and something that just great time, great music, and great cause.
Right, and is this geared just to the expat community, or is it kind of everybody?
It's open to everybody.
Yeah.
We actually want to bring in more people that are Korean native speaking to help promote this, because we do want to kind of scale this up in size. We would love to do bigger events in some bigger facilities. That way we can turn around and raise just more money for each individual's causes.
And Josh, you were generous enough to, I guess you can say, donate your premises to host this event. The first event was on December 14th. Arctic Feels was the event name. Can you tell us more about it?
Yeah, well, the name, actually, my man Chris here came up with it, being the creative genius that he is. So he'll tell you why that name came to be. Tell him. Arctic Feels.
I think he was asking you something else. All right, so the way the event went, we had decided to promote it on a one-on-one basis. So when we were going around and building this up and promoting it to everybody, we kind of had to pick a name, obviously. We were thinking, December, it's going to be cold, feels, because the whole point of this event was to raise money for charity. So how could you not feel good participating in an event like that? So that's where the name kind of came from. So moving forward, feels will always be in the name. So on February 1st, we're going to run our second event, which is going to be called Pure Feels. With that event, we're going to be doing it again at Josh's bar, which is called Jerry's Bar. But it's going to be a little bit of different feel, slightly different lineup of DJs, and hopefully it'll have the same exact impact that the last one had, if not more.
Right. So, Josh,
how the event went.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't answer your question. It was a two-part event. Basically, it was Friday and Saturday. So Friday, what we did, we went shopping for gifts before the event, believing that we were going to have donations enough to actually pay for these. Otherwise, they're going to come out of pocket. We did as much promotion as we could on Instagram and such, invited on one-on-one, as he said, as many people from the community. And they showed up. The DJs kept the energy alive and really popping. People, once they realized what that night was about, got into the groove, into the mood of that night, started enjoying themselves responsibly, as it should be. The next day, around 1 o'clock, we went together with a group. Actually, it was the Non-Commissioned Officer Association, a group of Marines and Prince Hall Military Lodge, and we brought all these gifts to the baby box.
Wow.
Santa was there. We kind of sat them all around. Each gift was individually named. So my wife actually wrapped them individually, put each kid's name on it, so that Santa would call out the name, and the kids would come out and sort of get really excited and take a picture with the Marines. Beautiful, beautiful weekend. Very inspiring.
As a small business owner, and this being the holiday season, this is sort of the time that I don't want to be too blunt about it, but like this is when revenue is kind of churning up, and you have this opportunity. This on the surface, you would go, this is an opportunity cost for you. It's a pretty, I mean, you can say generous, but it's a pretty big sacrifice on your part. Was there any other doubt, or was this sort of a no-brainer thing for you that you wanted to do this?
It was no doubt in my mind. We've been working with Baby Box for the last 3 years, and it is the time where people tend to be a little bit more generous in some ways. So allowing the community to sort of give back and represent, what we all really want to stand for, which is love and kindness and, and care for everyone else, especially those who are more unfortunate. No doubt.
Right.
No doubt.
We all have our own, let's say, pet causes, and if we're fortunate enough to have extra income where you can donate, you tend to want to gravitate towards the causes that you really feel passionate. I mean, they're all worthy causes, but I understand that you made the decision to allow the DJs to choose the charities that they wanted to donate to. How did that decision come about? That
was important for us, and I think with Chris, once I I convinced Chris that the Baby Box was amazing, he kind of threw it back and said, "Hey, can we let the DJs choose?" Tell them a little more about that.
Yeah. So basically, what it kind of come down to is I've always been a big advocate back in America for Toys for Tots, but that's not really a charity that's necessarily functioning here. So I wanted to kind of adapt and find something similar, but that's domestic to here, like that's local to Korea. He introduced me to the Baby Box, and then, reading a bunch of things, seeing all the work that he's done extensively with them, that got me on board. However, in my mind, I was thinking, although I'm fully on board for Baby Box, I'd prefer to open this up for the rest of the community that takes part in the event to bring up their own causes. So for instance, on the first event, the other DJ that was with me, he actually donates to Alzheimer's research. And for him, his grandfather has that. My grandfather died of that. So that's just awesome because we got to take care of two things at one time. So I felt it was important from the DJing perspective that each DJ picks their own charity, and the money that we raise is split amongst that. Just when we were promoting this, I was handed 75,000 won in donations before we even hit play.
Wow.
That was just promoting the day, or promoting the night. So when I started seeing that the community wanted something like this, I wanted to make it inclusive, not exclusive.
And it's not necessarily some kind of like management guru type of thing where you incentivize people, but if you have people involved who also have that cause, whether it's Alzheimer's, whether it's Baby Box, it does kind of bring more passion, enthusiasm into the whole project together, right? I mean,
exactly.
That mainly been
very excited about doing it, actually. Yeah.
Okay, Baby Box itself, because we've talked about this in years past, and it's sort of a big issue, and it's a really kind of, some would say unfortunate, maybe even tragic part of Korean society, where you do have a certain ideal of what it means to raise a child, and sometimes children just, you can say, abandoned, or there just isn't a home for them. And so this Baby Box, although there have been controversies as to the whether this charity or this organization should have an outlet like this, regardless of where someone stands on that issue, why is Baby Box such a sort of kind of pet cause for you?
I think it was because to be honest, I hadn't done much charity since 3 years ago. Everyone had always talked about charity and volunteer work, and I thought it was something that you just send money and someone does it, and just here, take $10 and give it to someone that needs it. But somehow with my fraternity, I was able to get involved with them, and I actually spent time with the kids. What the Baby Box has done, and if you know a little bit about the history of them, started in 2009 when someone basically abandoned a baby at the doorstep of Reverend John Rag Lee. And he decided, well, I might as well just put a Baby Box, etc., there, so that any single mothers or people that think they don't want their child can deposit it. And spending time with the kids that he has adopted, which are about 10 or 12 of them, in the orphanage that we visited, Down syndrome. Some of them are basically non-mobile, cerebral palsy, etc. It was really real to me. It meant more than, yes, there are some people say it shouldn't be there, but at the end of the day, there's no other option for some of these kids. It's either that or death. Let's be realistic. So it's definitely something that I feel quite passionate about.
When we go forward, this being Christmas Day, obviously, you know, everyone
sure.
wants to give. What are the future plans for this? Is it something to keep? Is it a one-time thing, or you mentioned scale? How are we going to do that?
So this is definitely not a one-time thing by any means. We're going to be doing in 2019 a total of 5 events. We're going to do one in February, and then we're going to do one in spring, one in summer, one in autumn, and then we're going to close out with another Arctic in winter. The word Fields will always be in the flyers, so it's just going to change that first name on it. And as far as scalability, that's just going to be a matter of getting the right people involved to help us expand on this idea a little bit, so we can grow it, right? I know we are talking right now in partnership on the spring event between 2 places. So we'll have a daytime event and a nighttime event, but nothing's fully locked in on that. However, if somebody wants to get involved and help us, especially if you're a DJ, I'm going to be running a open decks night at Paper Street Cafe every single Wednesday. So feel free, come on out. Let's have a conversation. Also, that'll give me a chance to hear you play because it is open decks. So feel free to come out so we can meet and, like I said, talk. And if you have any ideas to help us, also feel free to come out to Jerry's bar, Josh's bar. That way we can all kind of get together, talk, and hash out ideas. Because the bigger we make this, the more money we're raising for great causes.
If people listening right now, and they can be expats, they can be Koreans who are listening to this program, and they want to get involved, what do you think they should get in touch with you? Do you guys have like a Facebook or an Instagram that they can?
Yes, we do have Facebook. We have our Instagram. It's Jerry's Bar Korea. And that will connect to many things. If they want to directly help Baby Box, there is just type the Baby Box Korea on Facebook, or if you want to see what they're really about, go on YouTube and search them. If Korea is too far for some of your listeners, maybe, and they're abroad, this is not meant to be just in Korea. Look around your local community, see what there's many children or many charities that at this time might need some assistance and help. So hopefully this kind of thing is not just for here, but it's for wherever you're at. It inspires you, motivates you to say, hey, I can do something. These guys, you know, it may be small and thing, but hey, why not give it a shot? It's that time of season.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people watching, because we're taping this as well, but listening on the radio as well, it's pretty inspiring because you guys are both of you guys from the States. Is that
both
right?
from New York. Yeah,
both from New York.
Both from New York, and you know, you get kind of hear thousands and thousands of miles away. You're already away from home, so I'm sure you miss family and friends,
absolutely.
and so you can be kind of more insular and thinking, okay, this is my holidays, and I'm wondering what I'm going to do. But you know, you guys are using this time, even though you're away from home, to do something that'll improve the community that is your new home. And I think a lot of people should take not just inspiration, but really, if they are inclined, give you guys some support. This has been kind of just on my mind the whole time during this interview, Chris. But you know the Instagram celebrity Dan Bilzerian? Okay, just look him up because
no, I don't look
at him.
But he's this real famous Instagram celebrity guy, like this, like multimillionaire. He's in Vegas. He's doing a lot of crazy stuff. But he definitely there's a really strong resemblance, and I think people who watch this on Facebook Live will definitely be able to make that connection. But Chris. Josh, want to thank both of you guys for joining us. Merry Christmas. Obviously, best of luck with what you guys are doing. And hopefully we can have you guys back maybe even before the next holidays to get more promotion for it. Thanks a lot, guys.
Appreciate it so much. Thank you.
Thank you.